Front nine, back nine, or eyeing the 19th hole, wherever you are in life, Hostplus can help you drive your retirement further. That's a plus.
He was always a bit of a misfit within the golfing industry, and he found his relationships with those guys similar to what he felt, and they had a thing in common, which was their inability to fit in.
Welcome to Talk Birdie to Me with former world number 16 Nick O'Hearn and Tour Pro Mark Allen, live from Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. And thanks to our great partners, Hostplus, the official retirement partner of Talk Birdie to Me. Driving a BMW is like hitting the perfect shot. Smooth, controlled and powerful. Titleist, the clear number one ball in golf. FootJoy, the number one shoe and glove in golf. Better, when the greats bet, they bet with Better. Ping will help you play your best. And the Golf Clearance Outlet, who beat everyone's prices. Now, here's Nick and Mark.
Welcome everybody. This week we are hosting for Hostplus, the number one coach in the country. And when you have a look at the names in the stable, Nicholas, he may well be the number one coach in the world the way things are going. And the players that he has got are just going north. His name is Ritchie Smith. He's from Western Australia. And Richie, it's great to see you.
Thanks for having us. Nice day, boys. Sunny outside. Might play a bit of golf myself.
Why not?
When we look at the stable, we got Hannah and Minjee Lee and Min Woo and Micheluzzi's come across and Ryan Peake. We want to get some insights in how you coach, because the names are great and the players you've got are, inspiring other Australians to play the game. But we'd love to know how you got into the game yourself and what level you got to.
Well, I wasn't that great a golfer. I think, what do they say of coaching? That if you can't play, you should coach, and that's what I did. I was I would call a development tour player. I had moments where I played really well, and had made some good scores. I used to have the tendency to be able to go quite low about once or twice a year. So, I shot 59 and a 60 once. But unfortunately, I didn't get many 65s and 66s. I had as many 61s and 2s as I did probably 66s. So,
and what was that from putting? Were those really crazy low scores? Were they putting days or were they hitting days?
I think they were hitting days. I think if I found the right golf course, I could play it really well. But unfortunately, none of those golf courses were golf courses that were going to play on tour. So I ended up coaching, and I've really enjoyed it. It's been good.
You did your traineeship, right, Richie? And I think from what I've been, reading, and I mean, I did my traineeship as well. Didn't you win like the Australian trainee champs 3 years in a row or something?
Oh.
No, I won the Player of the Year 3 years in a row.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty impressive.
That's very good.
Yeah, but we got to recognise that the trainees, they're tested on public golf courses and club golf courses, and I was very good on those. And when the real stuff happened, I probably wasn't as good.
All right, so Rich, I'm a young player coming through. I'm not getting the most out of my coaching. In fact, I think he's maybe taking a few wrong turns with me. And I get your number, and I call you and I say, "Listen, I'd love to come down and be coached." Is that a possibility, or how do people walk through your front door?
In a few different ways. Only very rarely that way. Normally, I'm getting a phone call from 1 or 2, 3 people prior to that happening, and those people are obviously people I know. I can, I've just taken on Dave Micheluzzi, and I probably had 6 or 7 conversations with other people prior to that actually happening. And when that happened, everyone said, "Yeah, you should coach him." I'm going, "All right, well, I'm pretty full at the moment." But I actually sort of became friends with him. I wanted to work out what the man was like first because, with my coaching, I'm very big on like making sure that they fit within my coaching group or my cohort of players. So it's no good having a player that, he could be the greatest player in the world, but if they don't fit in with what I've already got, it becomes challenging and it creates other issues. So it's really important that. And Mika was that person. Mika is just one of the nicest blokes you'll ever meet, and very happy and very grateful for any assistance that he gets. So when I take on a player like that, it takes about, I don't know, maybe a month of conversations to work out exactly what sort of person he is and how he's going to react in certain situations. And if he has the attributes that I really want and like.
What are they, Richie? What are the attributes you're looking for?
Well, first, number one, got to be a good bloke. Got to be a good bloke, because I'm in a relationship with this person that I'm going to spend a lot of time with, and if they're not a good bloke, well, I just don't want to be around them.
Yep.
So they've got to be a good bloke.
It's like finding a good caddy.
And two, obviously, they've got to get along with everyone else. But I think three, they've got to be hardworking and vulnerable. I really want vulnerability, because I think that if they're not vulnerable, then you can't actually have really good connection.
Mm-hmm.
And then mainly, I want them to be a man of their word. So if they say they're going to do something, they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I start coaching, or when I'm coaching someone, I'm in 110%. And I think you'll get that if you talk to any of my players. I'm 110% on their side, and I expect them to have the same I expect that they would have the same expectations of themselves with me.
So do you have you say you have a coaching stable of players. Is there a specific number? I mean, what have you got, about 8 players at the moment, around that, 6 or 8? Or how many is too many and how many is too few, I guess?
Look, I think you can have 3 per tour.
Okay.
That's interesting.
I think you can have 3 per tour, and those 3 must get along with each other. So I've been fortunate enough to have 3 per tour now for a while. I've got 3 LPGA, and I've got 3. Well, I had 3 in Europe, and I've got 1 on the PGA Tour. I don't think I am the right coach for a international,
mm-hmm.
because I do really invest a lot of my time on the players, and I don't know if I'll be able to get that connection, because I'm away from them a fair bit. But I have started a little project with an LPGA player this year who's quite good, and I want to see if it will work. It was only 2 years ago that I really that I hadn't even coached anyone from outside Western Australia. So, and that seems to have worked pretty well in Elvis's case. So I'd always sort of avoided looking after players from other states, because I just didn't know if I could have that time to connect. So we're as long as you got the right number per tour and they get along, it's possible. I always say to people, if you come into the lunchroom and every one of your players is sitting in 3 separate tables, you don't want to have to choose who you sit with.
Yeah,
there you go. That's a good point. Well,
and if they're all happy you sit wherever, they're the right person for my team.
There you go. I like that. One of the, I think, more fascinating stories, especially last year, was Ryan Peake. And, obviously you'd seen him early on, and he was a phenomenally talented player from what I've read. I didn't know much about Ryan. And then obviously the issues happened, and he went to prison for a while, and you were almost the catalyst to get him back to playing at this level again and then winning. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. I coached Ryan when he was young, maybe 15 through 17. And when he was 17, he sort of just dropped off the planet. I know he's up to a little bit of mischief, but he really just dropped off the planet. And, at the time, I didn't realise he'd become heavily depressed and had put on sort of 50 kilos.
Wow.
And had started to knock around with some guys that had an alternative lifestyle, you could say, and he was always a bit of a misfit within the golfing industry, and he found his relationships with those guys similar to what he felt, and they had a thing in common, which was their inability to fit in, and he ended up doing the wrong thing, ended up in jail. So I never knew any of this, but then I found out eventually that he was in jail, and then I made contact with him because I don't know, when I start coaching someone, my philosophy is that I'm in it for the long haul, and I say this saying when I start coaching people that I'm mate for life. So once you're in, and that's for better or for worse. So if you're injured or you're out of form, I'm going to be there for you, and that's part of the agreement. And I found out he was in jail, sent him a message, and then we started a process of trying to get him back playing golf, because he was going to come out and be an electrician and probably a bikie. We started a process of getting him back into golf slowly. We wanted to get him to assimilate back into the golfing industry, and we weren't sure how that was going to go because the golfing industry is quite a conservative industry, and he's not conservative. And it took a while, but everyone, to their credit, actually really accepted him, and he is a really nice, honourable man who's made a big error in his life, and he is recovering that, and I have faith that he'll never go back to that life. He said to me the other day, Richie, it's been 12 years since I committed a criminal offence, and I never will again. And I feel partly responsible for him now being a European Tour player, but I also feel really proud of him because he's done most of it, and he's made the choices, and I'm just helping him along the way.
No, it's incredible. Look, we live in a country where you're afforded a second chance in life, and for you to come over the top and make sure that he got the most out of his second chance is a hell of a story, Richie. It is a belter. Hey, can we take an early break? Because I'd love to come back on the back nine here and talk about some of the major things, or the change or the tip or the conversation you had with your players that they got the most benefit out of. So let's take that break. Let's come back and talk about Hannah and Minjee Lee and Minjee Lee and Mika and Ryan Peake as well. I think
Mika just had a top 10 in Europe last week as well.
That's exactly right.
Some good success.
We've come at the right time. All right, we'll see you on the 10th tee.
Golf buggies, golf carts, e-bikes, scooters. If it charges at home, chances are it's charging right now. Overcharging lithium batteries can damage your equipment, or worse, put your home at risk. SwitchStar power points deliver power for up to 8 hours, then switch off automatically. No apps, no Wi-Fi, nothing to remember. When you forget, SwitchStar doesn't. SwitchStar. Every home should have one.
Front nine, back nine, or eyeing the 19th hole, wherever you are in life, Hostplus can help you drive your retirement further. That's a plus.
From Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, this is Talk Birdie to Me. We're here for BMW, luxury and comfort for the 19th hole. Hostplus, the official retirement partner of Talk Birdie to Me. The golf clearance outlet, they beat everyone's prices. Ping will help you play your best. And better, ahead of the game. Now for Titleist, the number one ball in golf, and FootJoy, the number one shoe and glove in golf. Here's Nick and Mark.
Okay, welcome back. And for Hostplus this week, we're hosting Ritchie Smith. He's a superstar coach, and he's got some of the best players we have in Australia.
Well, he's got one from my club, Hannah Green.
That's where I wanted to start as well.
I want to start with Hannah, and I guess Richie, what Mark was alluding to before about, some of the success you've had with them. First, I guess, how did you come to coach her, and what are the most proud things or those moments you've had with her which you go, right, okay, she's really getting this now?
Well, I'll go back a little earlier because really my relationship with her started after I became the state women's coach in Perth. And the interesting thing about the state women's coach role was, I'd finished playing golf. And the reason I finished playing golf was because my wife got pregnant and I just didn't want to be on the road when my wife was pregnant. So, and I was a bit shit anyway. So I wasn't making any money, and
a couple of good reasons.
Yeah. So, and I didn't. To be honest, I really didn't like the person I was becoming playing. I thought that I was angry and not a good person to be around. So anyway, I quit that and took up a teaching role at Gosnells Golf Club because it was the only role that was available. And maybe 4 or 5 days into that role, the state coaching role came up for the ladies, and I was the only applicant. So at that stage, I'd probably done 10 lessons in my life.
Wow.
And I became the only applicant for a job that was pretty cool. And then, through that, I think I created a little bit of reputation. We had, in the first year, we had a squad full of maybe the youngest person in the squad was 25 years old and the oldest 50. And I thought that we needed a bit of a clean out. And so we did beep tests and all sorts of stuff with those 50-year-old ladies. And the next year, my oldest player was 18 in the squad. So
one way to clean them out.
And the youngest was about 12. Anyway, we introduced Hannah, Minjee, Whitney Harvey, all about the same time. Hayley Betancourt, they were all really young. We told them that you would not be in consideration for the team, but you are in consideration as a development player for our squad. And since that, she just came across and started having lessons, she's just developed into just a beast of a golfer. And I think with Hannah in particular, like no one actually noticed how good she was when she was an amateur because we had 2 girls in Minjee and Suo that were just so dominant.
Yeah.
But they were so far ahead of everyone else. But if we'd actually opened our eyes and weren't so starstruck by these 2 golfers, we would have noticed Hannah, making record scores, winning Australian juniors, just being the 3rd best player in the country. And then when she won, came second in the New Zealand Open, she played in the last round as an 18-year-old with Lydia Ko, who was world number 1. She shot 68 in the last round, same as Lydia under all that pressure. I just thought that this girl's a bit different. She's got real character and a real toughness, and she has just grown and grown and grown and grown. And last year she was top 4 in the world, and she snuck up on us very, very slowly and very quietly, and she is outstanding and probably a better person. So she is the nicest yet toughest human I know. She is the prototype of what I would like my golfers to be.
Well, there you go. And look, she won that PGA Championship, and look, throughout the golfing world here in Australia, she got the acclaim, but not in the sporting world. I thought that was mean. If a tennis player had won the French Open, or if a tennis player had won a US Open, it would have been a very different story than when Hannah won that PGA. I don't think the media understood just how big that was. In fact, we did our top 7 predictions for this year, and you predicted her to win another major this year. So we're on board with Hannah, Richie. It's fair to say. What about Minjee? Go on, continue.
Can I tell you a story about Hannah?
Yeah, please.
Because no one will know it, but she was in that tournament. She was the 5th worst driver of the ball that week.
Wow!
So
of the major she won.
So yeah,
the
she
PGA
averaged 182 meters off the tee, and she averaged better than 100% from 40 to 70 metres, I think, which means that she holed out more than she didn't get up and down from 40 to 70 metres.
What?
Holy moly.
Yeah. So she hit it in the rough a lot.
Yeah.
Short as well, real short.
Yeah, 182.
Swinging it bloody awful. And she got up and down from 40 to 70 metres more than she didn't. She holed out more than she didn't get up and down.
That's crazy.
Outrageous.
So we decided after that event, like she'd got an exemption for 5 years. We decided to rebuild her golf swing the day after that event, and she was right on board. And to prove her toughness, she won Portland 5 weeks later with a totally different golf swing.
That is staggering.
Yeah, totally different. And it's probably, I've had a lot of proud moments, but that's up there. And it just shows the character of the woman. She's a tough
When you say a total redo, we're not talking about just a shaft line here and there by the sounds of it. Like it's a total redo.
Total redo.
Wow.
Grip, stance, the lot.
The whole shooting match.
Oh.
We said we had a year to get this right because we wanted to take advantage of the exemption.
Yeah.
And she said, yep, I can't hit it like this anymore. It's just driving me mental. She could move her left arm in her golf swing anywhere in a 30-degree circle.
Wow.
In every shot.
What? Really?
Yeah, every shot. And that's why she drove it so bad.
Yeah.
And that's why she hit it so bad. And we worked out a system around that left shoulder, which still is a work in progress, but she's starting to get really good. If you look at her body shape now, it's totally different to what it was. She is a super professional girl, and no one gives her credit for it because other players look so much different, but she is outstanding.
Isn't it amazing? That'll probably be the best story. When I looked at, I've gone with Hannah first because I thought it looked probably like it wasn't much there, but there you go. What about Minjee Lee? When you first saw Minjee Lee, what did you think?
She was outstanding. She came to me as maybe a 12-year-old. Again, part of that intake into that squad. And when she came to me, like she was very, very raw, but she trained so much. She was on the way. She just was overtraining massively, and she was on her way to having a stressy in her back. Certainly had a hot spot in there. I don't think by bad coaching that she'd received, but just for overwork. And we set about just making sure that she didn't overwork and training her body a little bit differently. And, she's 12 years old. So at the time, you know that she's good, but you don't know where she's going to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to have her sort of, I don't know, was it 2 or 3 years later in the last round of an Australian Open was pretty cool. And I'll be honest, like back then I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just making shit up on the go and trying to sound professional. And
Love it.
we had provided a little bit of structure. I was only seeing her like once a week for half an hour once a week, and then she had turned herself into something pretty amazing pretty quickly. But when we look back on what she looks like now compared to what she looked like then, it's changed a lot as well. And
the biggest change recently has been the long putter, right? Yeah,
the long putter, but she's a beast as well. Like people don't recognise how much of a beast she is. A winner. We can talk about the tournaments that she's lost. She's lost those tournaments through just trying so damn hard, not by allowing things to just happen a little bit naturally. And when we look at her putting, she has had an issue with the putter. I mean, she's not the first person; she won't be the last. But I don't think she ever has had the yips. What she actually used to do would not be able to hit a straight putt. Right. So she'd look at a straight putt and she'd find break. So, and then she had this concept in her head, I hit putts firm. So I hit putts firm, I don't aim at the hole. That's a recipe for disaster, right?
Yeah, it is. That's a disaster.
So, and she had this real concept of perfection. I must be perfect. I must hold everything. I can't miss. So, yeah, we went to the long putter, and if you know Minjee's very traditional, very stoic, does not like attention, and going to the long putter is really it really is an acknowledgement that you've got an issue.
That's it.
And so for that thing, that took 2 years or so to actually, we given her the idea 2 years earlier, but after, the 2 years she had to go to something. So we wanted her to change to a club whereby she was a beginner again. And the reason for that was I felt like her as having expert status meant in her head, she couldn't miss. But being a beginner again, I really tried to push the point that you're allowed to miss now.
Mm.
And if you miss every putt, that's okay. You're a beginner.
Mm.
But she had an amazing technique straight away, and she's a great putter. The other thing too, like I wanted to get her head as far away from the ball as I could, because she'd been over the ball and she just got into this rut at that height. So if I get her away from the ball, she gets a totally different feel. She sees the panorama around her so differently. We'll be able to really use that as to our advantage. And once we actually had created the option that you can miss, once we had changed the actual the setting, she was back to normal again, and we could go with it.
Incredible.
But that was the philosophy, and she's now gone from 150 in putting last year to 2 last year, and
Number 2.
Amazing.
probably the reason her ball striking wasn't very good last year. So
Yeah.
guess what we've been working on this process.
Yeah, it's funny that. And then she's got this cocky little brother,
Yeah.
who's an amazingly talented young player. Obviously, it's funny. I walked around with Shane Joel, his caddy at the moment at the Australian Open, or just before the Australian Open, in a practice round, and we were chatting a bit about Minwoo's game and everything he's been going, and he was talking about his iron play, and that's what you and Minwoo have been working pretty hard on. And I made a prediction, one of our predictions earlier in an episode of him climbing the world rankings, maybe even sneaking into the top 10. So can you give us an update on how the irons are going? Because every other part of the game seems to be, incredible.
Yeah, I can. We recognised long ago that his iron play is not good enough. And, we have a player that's got a world-class driving game, got a world-class putting game, and a world-class chipping game. However, his iron play is poor. And if we look at who are the greatest players on that tour, they're all great iron players. So we've set about trying to stabilise his club delivery. In order to stabilise his club delivery, we've got to do better body motion maintenance, better structure around his body motion. And to do that, we have to have a better setup, and to just change the whole concept of how he's delivering. So interestingly for him, he has a lot of shaft lean, but his concept of shaft lean was, I need to lean my body backward to reduce the shaft lean. And, and I'm telling him, mate, the more you lean your body backward, the more shaft lean you're going to get.
That's right.
So, and we kept on saying, and it's taken probably 5 years for this to sink in, if you move left, if you get your head further forward, your delivery mechanisms will change completely, and you'll stack your left side better. And I think last year, before it was at the Cognizant Classic, I said, I've had a gut full of this. I've had a gut full of this lean. Stop doing it. All right. I don't get cranky very often, but I got cranky. And I said, from now on, every shot you hit, I just want you to hit as high as you physically can. Now, I knew that wouldn't give us a better spine tilt. In fact, it may make it worse.
That's
but
right.
what it would give us would be a better delivery method. And I knew that once he could get the shaft more vertical at impact, he would see that that height of shot is not going to get affected by the wind because, he's played at Royal Fremantle level his life. He sees the low ball flight. So I wanted him to see that this ball flight is not going to get affected. And then, he went out and played Bay Hill the week after. There was a little improvement. Then he went and played Players. And after 2 rounds, he's leading the approach. He's leading driving, leading putting. He's leading by 3 or something.
Just trying to hit it as high as you could.
And then we had, and he's that was the only goal. That was the only goal. Hit it as high as you can. And then we got hit by a cyclone the next day, Saturday, and if we hadn't got hit by that cyclone, I'm very confident we would have won the Players. But instead, we've ended up finishing wherever we did, and he really blew out. And then he won the next week when it was calm again.
Yeah,
in Houston.
Amazing.
So, I was really proud of that as well. I think there was a good coaching moment there, and then that just gave us the impetus and the confidence to actually try and change his body motion and get a little bit more over his left side, and his delivery will change.
It's amazing you talk about shaft lean because I was following him once with a microphone. It was Australian PGA, and he had 178 metres to the hole, and he hit it over the back of the green, right? And I'm commentating, and I don't know what club he's got. His caddy's not helping me at all.
Sure.
So I said he's got a 7-iron. Right, it was into a 2-club wind. Anyway, the caddy heard me say it was a 7-iron, and then after the ball went over the back, he held up the club. It was a 9-iron.
9-iron.
It was a 9-iron that he'd hit over the back. It was a physical impossibility. So with that huge amount of shaft lean, I imagine one of the tough parts is with the club head speed is actually to hit the ball the right distance.
That's right. So that was his issue. Like one shot would go 10 metres longer than the next, and he had no control.
Yeah. Okay.
Apart from the fact he was dragging the handle hard left and not pressuring the ball as well as he could have. Like it was just very, very inconsistent. And he lost a lot of shots right with the longer clubs, and he lost a lot of shots left with the shorter clubs. And we are getting on top of that. I'm happy to say we are getting on top of that. I think that it's going to be a process of a couple of years. I don't think it's going to happen in a day.
My prediction.
But, I mean, well, Nick, I'm still confident that we can have a really good year.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure he will.
And I really do believe that he's a top 10 player in waiting.
Well, I've noticed a couple of events.
But, as I said earlier,
I've noticed a couple of events on tour this season. He's been right, like he was leading one. He was right up there in Phoenix, but just falling away. So there's good signs. It's just putting it all together, I imagine.
I was about to say at Phoenix, he averaged, he was quite good, but, one of those rounds he was -4 strokes gained for approach, and that's not going to win you any tournaments.
No.
It's just not. But the next round he was positive again, and it's just going to be a little bit of a, as with his game and as with him in general, it's going to be a bit of a journey.
Okay.
It's going to be up and down.
Give us one more. Micheluzzi. So this young fella, you've worked out he's a nice bloke. He's going to sit with you in all the lunches and all the rest of it. But you look at his golf swing. It's to me, it's always not so much a homemade swing, but
it's a very interesting impact position.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. So he walks through the front door. What's the first thing that you look at, Richie?
Well, obviously, I'm going to look at him as a human. Because it's just really important to me. Second, I'm going to look at his drive, not his driving, but his drive to be better. And Mika said to me, I train 9 hours a day, and he does. So we've halved that because that's ridiculous. I mean, Mika's got to be happy with himself as much of his golf, and I don't think training 9 hours a day is a good thing for him. It's not healthy. So, and then I look at the pattern that he's producing. I look at how his data's looking. So, I looked at his putting. His putting was great. His chipping's great. His strokes gained is poor tee to green, and then I look for opportunities because, and I look at every opportunity cost. Or his swing is an opportunity cost situation. So if we do X with his swing, what is the cost if it doesn't work out? And I didn't see too many negatives. And I think that is because it is a pretty homemade action. I think there's opportunities in lots of different phases, in lots of ways. So I felt like we could get a really good result really quickly and get him away from, as much as he says it's homemade, he was very technical. He said, I'm a golf nuffy. And I was able to disprove his theory on a few things in about 3 minutes. And then once I had that belief and that understanding that that's not actually correct, he became actually really easy to work with. Now,
can you tell us what they were? What did he believe that you knew was wrong?
He believed that his delivery would be determined by, I think his delivery, he could deliver the club normally from a very long golf swing position, and right. I don't believe that's possible. So my belief is that if you're coordinating your arms and your rib cage height, so you're limiting your rib cage height, it really restricts the method of delivery, and your power source will be, you will get rid of a few different power sources and limit it to one, which will be abdominal control on and through delivery. Mm-hmm. And the club in itself will just deliver naturally. You won't have to worry about it. So we gave him some rules around transition, arm length, rib cage height, setup, right shoulder structure with him, because his right shoulder was, he looked like Snoop Dogg walking through, like I use the example, Snoop Dogg walking through a door. There was no consistency with the structure. So yeah, I don't know if I explained that very well, but no, there was opportunities.
Perfect. No, it's almost a lot. The way you talk about the rib and the arms and everything connected. It's I guess a common theme I see through some of your players with Minwoo, Minjee, Hannah, and so on, where it's a big turn with a shorter arm swing. Is that sort of the gist of it, I guess, where everything matches up and connects really well? I know I played my best when my backswing length was 3/4, but I had a full shoulder turn. Play my worst when my shoulders are going 3/4 and my arms at full tilt. Right. So, it's a nightmare. And I'm trying to get rid of that right now. So
the older you get, the worse it gets.
Would that be sort of?
I think that's
correct?
Right. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that if you think about that logically, you're going to get your power from your shoulder turn or your body turn. So you're creating torque through your body turn. You're creating your touch through your hands, but you're also creating, you're limiting your power source by the arm height. So if your arms get too high, you'll fire your hips. If your arms get too deep, you'll fire your hips. If your left shoulder gets high, you'll fire your hips. So what are we doing as really outstanding golfers? We're trying to reduce the ability of getting trapped, meaning that the hips have gone too early and the arms have got caught behind us. So if we can keep the rib cage height, if we can keep your arm length low, then it's easier just to bring it down with the abs, and then the hip, though the sequence of events is the same, the hip moves to support rather than to power. And so far that's worked pretty well. People say, well, if you swing it short, you're not going to hit it as far, but I think I've got evidence to prove that my players are pretty long.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't agree with their beliefs. It's so far it's worked, and I think it will continue to work.
Fantastic.
Look, for us, a couple of golf talks here, listening to that, Richie, it's fabulous. Listening to your theories and watching your players rise through the rankings. It has been a beautiful Australian golf story. We appreciate all of your time, and we love watching your players perform on the big stage.
And the other thing is, I got to say, it's almost Richie's not a coach first, but he wants to be a human being first, which I love that. I love that mentality about getting to know the person, the bloke or the woman, and then we work on the game to see if it's a good fit. So I love that style.
Hey, Richie, before we go, golf's obviously been a big part of your entire life, but what's after golf?
I'm so much in it at the moment that I don't really know. First of all, I want to leave, this is going to sound funny, but I don't want to leave any IP in here. I want to get rid of it all. So I don't want to think about golf once I've gone.
That makes sense.
So I don't know. I feel like I would like to just go and sit on a beach and think about nothing.
Perfect.
Love it.
To be honest, I might go travelling with my wife. My wife has had to give up a lot of our time together for me, and I recognise that from the outside, like it seems like I'm quite unselfish with the players, but from the family point of view, it's the opposite, right? You're very selfish because you're going away all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm very wary of that, and I think I would like to spend some time with my wife and just do whatever she wants to do.
I can imagine a couple of grey nomads cruising around Australia in the caravan, Richie. I can see it now. Thanks again for your time and good luck.
Thank you. No worries at all.
Talk Birdie to Me with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen. Live from Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. Titleist, the #1 ball in golf. FootJoy, the #1 shoe and glove in golf. The Golf Clearance Outlet, they beat everyone's prices. BMW, luxury and comfort for the 19th hole. Better, ahead of the game. Ping will help you play your best. And Hostplus, they can help you drive your retirement further. Now that's a plus. Issued by Hostplus Pty Limited. This is general advice. Consider the PDS and TMD on our website before deciding. Wherever you listen or watch, we'd love you to subscribe and share the pod with a friend. Talk Birdie to Me's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media. Sound design by Daryl Misson at loudzebra.com. And now from Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, that's been Talk Birdie to Me.